Today we're going to strum through George Harrison's classic, My Sweet Lord. Let's get you started with the capo position and the chords and the strum pattern you'll need. Capo at the 2nd fret, especially if you want to play along with the original song. The chords in order of appearance. We need E minor. That's great. You can't get enough E minor, right? A major, easy. D major, B minor, and one more chord that might be a little bit unusual for you. I'm going to call this an E flat diminished chord. Now check it out. I'm going to give you another option. Now this chord is the right chord to play, an E flat diminished chord, but I'm going to give you an easier option in a second. Pinky, 1st string, 2nd fret. Middle finger, I know this seems strange, middle finger, 2nd string, 1st fret. Ring finger, 3rd finger, 3rd string, 2nd fret, and index, 4th string, 1st fret. Only those 4 strings. Now, don't let that chord hang you up. With a little work, you'll get used to it. Temporarily, if this chord is a big sticking point for you, you could do, and I hate to say this, you could do a D7, just a regular D7 chord, and either just strum the 3 treble strings, or to tell you the truth, you could just include the 4th string as an open string. Now, the reason why I say I hate to say it is the E flat diminished chord is the right chord for this song. The D7 chord is so close and sounds so good. So, I never want to cut corners, at least not too much in these videos, but I got to do it. Okay, so E flat diminished, work at it, 4-finger diminished chord. Diminished chords don't show up much in popular music in terms of the pop music that most of us grew up listening to from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, but now you have a reason to learn a diminished chord. So work at it, you'll get it just fine. In the meantime, you could do a D7 chord, okay? And it sounds great. Now let's talk about the strum pattern. I'm going to illustrate this with the E minor to the A, but you'll see it in other parts of the song as well. So E minor, slow motion. Down, 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 up, down, up stroke on A. That's the challenge for you. You got to switch to that A so quickly that you don't have to pause your strumming. Again, down, 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 up on A, and then up, down, down, up, down, without so much talking. Now, that's a great way to strum through most of the tune. If you listen closely, there's variations in that strum. George Harrison is having fun with this tune, but that strum will get you into the ballpark. The only time I want you to break away from that strum is, you'll see this coming up in the intro and in the verse. There are times when you're just going to do 4 downstrokes per chord. In the context of the intro, it's 4 downstrokes on the D major chord, followed by 4 downstrokes on the E flat diminished chord. And it sounds great and it fits the tune. Okay, you'll see that coming up in the next clip. But basically, that first strum I showed you, down, 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 up, up, down, down, up, down. You're going to do that going from E minor to A, so you want to practice that a lot. And you're going to do that also from D going to B minor, like this. So you want to practice that skill separate from the tune itself. Okay, isolate those tricky parts, the strum combining with the chords. Isolate that, practice that a bunch of times, and then return to the song itself, E minor to A and D to B minor, okay? Mashing that skill right there with that strum pattern and those chord changes, that will go a long way to having the whole tune under your fingertips. Okay, now let's get to the intro and the verse. All right, now let's get into the intro and verse, which are basically identical. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, everybody. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out my website, Songbike, for videos you cannot find on YouTube. Okay, so the intro, and if you can play the intro, you can play the verse. The intro is made up of the E minor A chord change. You do it 4 times. Then it goes to the D B minor chord change. That happens 2 times. And then you kind of wrap up the intro by going 4 downs on the D, 4 downs on that E flat diminished. There's that tension, there's a lot of tension in that chord, right? And that leads you to the E minor A chord sequence 1 time. And my sweet, and it's just about to go into the verse. Now I'm going to go a little slower through the verse. I'm going to put the words in there because that's the heart of the tune, right? Okay, so where we left off, we have the E minor A coming out of the intro. My sweet, okay, my sweet, and right on Lord, okay? Right on Lord, we have the E minor A sequence 3 times. My sweet Lord. Watch out here comes the downstrokes. And now we're into the E minor A 4 times. 2 more times. 1 more time. Now, if you were listening closely as I was strumming through the verse there are times where I broke away from the pattern a little bit, okay? I'm sure I did it down or up a little bit differently than I originally taught you. That's okay. You're going to do it too. It's okay. I want to give you that strum pattern at the beginning of the video as a foundation. But don't get hung up if you do an up or down slightly differently, as long as the song keeps flowing. Having said that, yeah, be as disciplined as possible. Learn that strum pattern. It works great. But don't be surprised if you hear me or someone else changing the strum a little bit. If you listen closely, you hear George Harrison, and there's probably a second guitar in there doing little variations on this strum. Okay, next clip, let's get into what I'm going to call the chorus of the tune. Here it comes. So let's get into the chorus, which is actually not so different from what you've been doing so far in the tune. And stick around, because at the end of this clip, I'll show you a nice lead guitar melody you can play, reminiscent of what George Harrison does on slide guitar at the beginning of the tune. Meanwhile, let's talk about the chorus. This is right on, I really want to know you. I really want to know you. Now you're just back into that E minor A sequence. Now, we're done with the tune. At that point in the song, there's a funky little bridge, and from there, the song essentially changes key. It's as if George Harrison just moved the capo up 2 frets. He doesn't do that. He gets into some slightly trickier chords, so we're not going to worry about that, because what you have here already is the heart of the tune. It's everything you need to put the tune across and to sing this classic from George Harrison. Now, let's get into a nice, easy way you can play the melody that George Harrison does at the beginning of the tune. It's 3 phrases. This sounds lower and sort of more acoustic than what he's doing on electric guitar with a slide way up here, but you'll recognize this melody. Recognize that, right? Okay, so there are 3 phrases. You just heard the first one. Second one is very similar. Now the third phrase gets a little tricky. It's not difficult to play, what I'm going to show you here. It just doesn't sound anywhere nearly as cool as what he does. He's doing some nice harmonizing with a slide. It sounds great, but let me show you how I would play it in this context. Starts off the same as the other phrases. Now watch this. Okay? Reminiscent of what he plays, right? And if you have a friend banging out the chords in the intro, that's what you can play, okay? To reflect the melody that he's doing. By the way, what I just played, that starts in the intro on the very first strum of the D chord. So George Harrison is doing the E minor A back and forth, and when the first D chord comes in the intro, that's when that's when this melody starts. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out my website. And I'll see you for another song tomorrow.